What is going on, everybody? It is Tony Tucker here at the Warzone Sports Network. I know that this is supposed to be the Clippers and Jazz, but the end of this game between the Sixers and Hawks is extremely intense. So we're still watching this game. We will switch over to Clippers Jazz Game 5 right after this one. But what happened in this game? Sixers had this thing put to bed. Like, wrapped up, tucked, good night. You know, parents, we open up a bottle of wine and hang out and let's get after it. Embiid had ice on his knees, up 20. And then all of a sudden, the backups came in. And the Hawks just went on a tear. Again, honestly, this is 2 nights in a row that we've now seen losses, huge leads lost. If you thought, like me, that it was going to be the Sixers or the Bucks representing in the finals, after the last 2 nights, how do you believe that anymore? Honestly, I'd love to hear somebody jump in the chat and explain to me how you could trust the Sixers or Bucks going forward and representing the East. And Gallinari's still just giving buckets out here. It's 107-104. Seth Curry had the game of his life tonight. I think he's got 7 threes. Embiid and Young both with 37 points apiece. And Trae Young is dribbling the ball with a 3-point lead. Hawks in 6. Let me put this comment on here from Mac Daddy. Nick Mack, host of the Into the Crosshairs here on the Warzone Sports Network, saying Hawks in 6. Ben Simmons is so bad. 4 of 14 from the 4 of 14. Ouch. I just missed what happened. I think it's Sixers ball on the rebound. Not sure. We're on a Modelo commercial. Nothing more expiring than a good Mexican beer, but on the verge of blowing a 20-point lead at home. At least the Bucks, at least that game was on the road. This can't be happening. Let me go over to the other game since we're on commercial. Whoops, wrong button. Wrong button. Oh, both commercials? Boo! Come on, time your timeouts better, NBA. How can you have 2 playoff games both on commercials? You should force the Sixers to just roll right now into the action. Appreciate everybody jumping in here. Can't believe it. Oh, that's what I was saying. Lost my train of thought. At least the Bucks were on the road for Game 5. This is the Sixers at home with a guy that we all thought was the MVP until he was injured in Joel Embiid. But he's back. He's out there. Doc Rivers said he isn't worried about the knee injury. But they're not winning. And like Mac Daddy said, right here, he's chiming in again. I can't believe I actually might be right about the Hawks. When you told me that you thought the Hawks would win this series in 6 games, even with Embiid, I was like, you're an insane person. How can you disrespect Joel Embiid like that? Apparently, it's not disrespect. Apparently, you are a superior basketball mind to me. That's what I'm taking from our interactions. I will second guess you again because that's what I do and that's what makes it fun. But I don't know how this is happening. Joel Embiid on the... Ooh, not a charge. Embiid, pressure free throws with 10.9 seconds left. Oh! First one up, and it skips off the front of the rim. Nate McMillan just sweating. That head looks shiny. My outlandish prediction for this game was that Joel Embiid would go 40 and 20 and that the Philly would win 108-101. 40 and 20. Would have been the first person to do it. Misses them both. And the Hawks get a timeout. Oh, this is bad. This is borderline embarrassing. I mean, I'm sitting in my living room, sweating, watching a basketball game, talking to strangers on the internet. I don't know if I can call it embarrassing, but I will. Let's see. I didn't read this comment. It wasn't Embiid. Simmons is not a championship point guard. It's proven to be that more and more. And I know that you and I have talked about this, and I'd be very interested to hear from other people on this one too, is that if you are the Sixers and the Blazers will even entertain your phone call, Deuces, Simmons, we'll take Dame Lillard if we can get him. And I think that's a pretty comparable trade. Kristoff jumping in here. 7. Damn, Hawks can go 3-2. It definitely looks like that. Like, it definitely looks like that's what's about to go down in this game. Hawks with the ball, 107-104. Embiid clanks 2 free throws. The media is going to have a field day with this, talking about what kind of player he is. I think we're working on the scoreboard for the background. Joe, give me a thumbs up if you think if we got that. No, still nothing. Still no scoreboard for the other one. But the Clippers jumping out to a nice lead in the other game. Very interested to see what happens in that game. No Kawhi Leonard. Paul George with a chance to tell everybody who calls him way off P to stuff it tonight. Go for 40. 7, nothing. Just dealing with this Southern California heat. 104 degrees out where I'm at right now. Well, just in my living room, air conditioning on, dripping, pouring sweat. Yeah, Mike, both free throws. Just, and you can see it in his face, how disappointed he is in himself. Press conference is not going to be the fun-loving, jovial Joel that I've become fond of over the past couple seasons. Inbound the ball. Obviously, you got to get a foul right away. Trae Young shoots like 97%. Oh, there was a chance. Thibault gets caught up on the feet and falls over. That was kind of going up there. That looked like a little like fade to the corner that he threw right there. Trae Young. Like who? Jamison Crowder. I'm trying to think of like a tiny wide receiver that would look bad throwing a fader out too. Mr. Embiid, welcome to my TikTok page. Oh, you and excuse me, you and thousands of other people. I really believe that there's going to be the memes, the internet is going to be going absolutely wild. The fans look shook. They call these two fans they have on the screen right now. They called the babysitter and they said, "Can we pay overtime because we're going out to celebrate tonight? We're going to head out. We might put a little graffiti on the Rocky statue. We're going crazy tonight." And then 5 minutes after that phone call hung up, boom. Hawks strike again. Up 4. Trae about to hit this second free throw because he's money from the line. Looking at Joel Embiid saying, see how easy it is? They get the ball in. It's in George Hill's hands. To Korkmaz off the front of the rim. Seth Curry can put it up, but that is the ball game. And the Boo Birds in Philly. As you know, Philly's not a shy fan base. They will let you know when you stunk up the place. And that's what just happened. Ice Trae celebrating out there. I think he finished with like 39 or 40 points tonight. We're working on the scoreboard. Let's go. Let's just talk through the game over here on the Clippers Jazz. And we'll just get a full screenshot of me. It's all good. Where are we at here? Let's go. And of course, it's a commercial. But in this game, Clippers Jazz, this is like, so they're still without Mike Conley. And it's a much bigger deal than I think a lot of the people that I was having conversations were making it. Because he really is a huge part of their offense and how it functions. Um, but he's not. It's not the same impact as Kawhi Leonard. Like when that news broke this morning about Kawhi's knee, and I'm not gonna lie, I feared that. I had that thought. But when he was able to sort of stay in the game and keep shooting free throws the other night, like I really thought, like, oh shit, Kawhi's about to, like Kawhi's about to show everybody how tough he is. And then the next day goes and we don't really hear anything about it. And I assumed he would play. I woke up this morning and I was just like, wow. 10, 10, 8, 8, 11 in the first quarter. And so the bold prediction that I made for this game was about Terance Mann. Anybody in here who's new, my brother-in-law is a Clippers fan, Clippers season ticket holder. And we've discussed Mann at length several times and how good he is and how well he can score. Shoots the ball pretty well, can get to the rack. And so I projected him to have a career high 30-point night. That was my outlandish prediction for the Jazz Clippers. So we'll see. Holy shit. The Hawks are a game away from going to the Eastern Conference Finals. Does it feel like Miami to anybody else? Like Miami Heat ending up in the NBA Finals? You're like, how the hell did these teams get to where they get? Like, what's going on in the East? I know it. I know the East is a lesser division, but come on. Bringing up this box score so I can see it, so I can keep tabs. Keep tabs on what's going on. Terance Mann putting a little dent in, 2 points already into my prediction. Reggie Jackson taking it to the hoop strong, a.k.a. Blade, Mr. Wesley Snipes, rocking the glasses out there. He's played really well for them. Like, he didn't have to play great in the last game. I think he only made 1 3, but he's played extremely well. Bogdanovich needs to pick up his play. Getting the ball stripped by Terance Mann. Tries to take it into his body. He says, you ain't man enough for this. I don't care if I'm in your house. I'm about to disrespect you. Paul George going to the rack strong. Steps on somebody's foot. Hits the turf. Utah's got to make a statement. Like you can't lose Kawhi Leonard, be the number 1 team in basketball all year long, and then lose at home. Like this would be even a step further than the Sixers or the Bucks if they lose this game tonight, in my opinion, right? Like the Bucks were on the road. James Harden did hobble around out there. He did not look good. But they were also playing against KD. Then the Sixers are at home. They blow like a 30-point lead. I still believe the Clippers are the most dominant team without Kawhi. Oh, Flash. That's not even close to accurate, but I appreciate the comment. Bogdanovich in the corner. Kawhi Leonard is what puts them over the top. But if they lose this game to a team that loses Kawhi Leonard, this would be, I don't care how it happens, it would be the worst loss of the playoffs to lose this. This is their game to win. And they're turning it on now. Defense and otherwise. Royce O'Neal strong to the hoop, getting the deuce. 13-15. Hey, Joe, can we get we'll get the scoreboard bigger, a little less of me, so that people scrolling through can see it and they don't just see me. Plus, we get a little bit more of this background. Look at how nice this looks. Thank you to everybody who put it puts in the time to make this look so nice, and then I just get to show up and bump my gums. Hawks in 6. I know, Mac. We might have to have a phone chat. Just talk about the craziness of what just happened in that game. Yeah. Hawks in 6. I don't know. I still don't buy it. I'm still riding with Joel Embiid. Get it done. Make it harness the anger he had from that lucky shot Kawhi hit when he was in Toronto. Harness that into these next 2 games. Nice move at the basket. I think that was Marcus Morris Sr. Donovan Mitchell. Top of the 3-point line doing his things. Between the legs. Royce O'Neal. Again, I like to see this aggressive Royce O'Neal take a little bit of pressure. Jordan Clarkson, my Filipino brethren. Nice long loose rebound by Royce O'Neal. But again, the Jazz just looking, in my opinion, looking for way too many 3-pointers. Donovan Mitchell with the rainbow 3, 18-15, 5:37 left in the first quarter. What a shot. Donovan Mitchell not making the All-NBA teams, any of them, is a joke, which I cannot wait to talk about in full length at another date and time. But it's a joke. Jordan Clarkson going to work on Terance Mann, who once again I said is a solid defender, but that's the 6th man of the year right there. Putting in work. Joe Morley taking shots at another man's hairline. It's okay. Where is Mac Dad? Mac Daddy's enjoying his family. You leave Mac alone. Mac wants to join. He knows how to get here. Don't be calling out any of my friends, Pepperton. 2020, Mitchell trying to go strong, getting tied up, and we're going to get a jump ball. This is a game where you need guys like Morris Sr. to really step up and say, like, yeah, I'm not Kawhi Leonard, but I can fill it up. I can do a little bit. You know what's funny is that, like, anytime you meet a Clippers fan, they're just so angry because they already know what's going to happen. Like, it's different to be a Clippers fan than maybe, like, I don't know, maybe it's what Brooklyn Nets fans felt like or feel like. Although now they walk around with well, it's kind of similar. They got KD and Kyrie, and then the Clippers got Kawhi and Paul George. But they're just always sort of second tier in major cities. Bogdanovich from downtown. 23-20, 4 minutes to play. Terance Mann going in strong, sees Rudy Gobert, is like, I got to check my life decisions at the door. Nicholas Batum answering with a 3. Mike Conley. We need Mike Conley back. What? I missed this comment back here. I love being right and reading the hate comments. Put this back up. And reading the hate comments later in my poorly lit basement. Yeah. Defensive player of the year right there. Argue his case. What is that? Is that his second foul already? Zubac's coming in. Anybody think we're getting a playoff Rondo sighting tonight? We're not. We're getting a lot of Pat Bev. Reggie Jackson at the free throw line, looking to tie the game at 26 with 3:35. It's good. Joe Ingles. See, that's the thing. Like once they get back Mike Conley too, then Joe Ingles goes to a solid bench role, right? Like Joe Ingles then becomes who's just crushing. It's nice to see Bogdanovich shooting with a little bit of confidence. Like, did he get back to Utah, have a little sit down with my guy Tony Robbins, defensive player of the year, making a nice swat, nice little defense under there. Playoff Redondo in the sweats, stretching out, just wondering why. How did this happen to me? How did I end up behind Pat Bev on the depth chart? That was not part of my plan. Nice contest by Gobert away from the rim. I say we because I'm one of those people who criticizes him a lot for his defense away from the rim. And Bogdanovich on the heat check. Oh, test it. Oh, man, that is a lot of excited white fellows right there. Cut back to that section of the Utah Jazz. That was fun. Bogdanovich with 18 points in the first quarter. Stepping up. Oh, you gotta. This is what. Where's the people who want to dive for the loose balls? Is everybody making that much money that they're afraid of getting a little, court burn on their arm or something? You guys saw KD, who's like one of the richest, best players ever a couple games ago. He got that big raspberry on his shoulder from diving for loose balls, fighting with people. Dude looks like he hasn't had a full meal in 20 years. He's out there grinding. And I'm seeing these guys, it's just like, I'll slap at it. No, dive. Braun was right. The playoffs are boring without Kuzma participating. Mike's on fire tonight. I like that, Mike. Even if Philly comes back to take the series, does anyone think they can beat the Bucks or Nets? That's a good question. And it depends on how healthy the Nets are. If you tell me that James Harden is going to get a couple extra days and a little bit stronger there, then no. I don't think that the Nets have any chance. I mean, I don't think that the Sixers have any chance against the Nets with KD and Harden. And the same thing, even if they just get back one of those guys, 7. Bogdanovich, and finally comes up short. But you had to check. You have to find out if you're just feeling it like that. If you're just in the zone. Sort of like Jeff Green last night was unconscious. I feel like Jeff Green probably didn't even know his name at certain points in the game last night. Dude was just like... It was like a sniper. It was like watching a Mark Wahlberg movie. Shooter. Just picking people off. Joe Ingles going to the rack. He's been doing a lot of his damage from beyond the arc, but that was good change to see. Good to see playoff P attacking the paint when there's no Gobert in there. Derek Favors should scare no one, especially after Kawhi buried him last game. And when he did that, he's the reason, here's the reason why Kawhi is my wife's, favorite player. He flushed on Derek Favors last game, and it was practice. He didn't make a face. He didn't do anything. He just got back on defense. And that is absolutely something that she admires. She doesn't like all the chest puffing and the showing the tattoos and the whatever craziness. I do. I'm a fan of it. I can appreciate both. I could appreciate it when Barry Sanders handed the ball to the referee. I can also appreciate, I don't know, Antonio Brown doing some crazy, inappropriate pelvic thrust move. Bad play inside the Clippers looking to take a lead at the end of the first quarter. Oh, Zubats. Zubats is one of those guys that misses a lot of dunks. Bro, you're 7 feet tall. It's right there. Maybe small hands. I don't get it. Clarkson dribbling at the top, pulling up for 3. Swish with 9.4 seconds. There it is. Chance to tie or be down by 1. Royce O'Neal. Did they have a foul to give? No. It's actually a pretty good foul. Well, I guess it will all depend. It will all depend on whether or not it is. There's something dedicated to Paul George memes. And then Paul George said he was a superstar. $37-34. Pat Bev to inbound the ball. A lot of setting up defense. What's going on? There we go, ref. Get him the ball. Trying to get the ball to George. Second option, Morris. Pulls up and drains it. That is a tough shot. He made it. He from Joe Ingles. Whew, that was an action-packed first quarter. Bogdanovich picking up some slack. Now this is where we hopefully get to see Donovan Mitchell come in and light it up. And then we get to see which player on the Clippers is serious about making sure that this series isn't over just because Kawhi isn't playing. Yeah. Thank you, Ernie, for reminding me that I was on the wrong channel the whole time watching the game on TBS. I don't know. Who out there in the chat thinks Marcus Morris, Reggie Jackson, who's the guy who fills in for him and gives him points? I said it was Terance Mann, but I think he's got 2. Oh, Joe, this is how we spend commercial breaks. You just throw up memes. Paul George is just such a nice guy. Like, he grew up not too far from where I'm living right now. And, like, I've been out there. There's a reason he's good at basketball. There's not a lot to do. Just shooting. Just playing hoops is a good way to stay out of trouble. Oh, man. That Terance Mann post is going to age very poorly, Joe. 2 points in the first quarter. And he played 8 minutes. Luke Kennard. Can Luke Kennard step up and earn some of that $60 million that he got? He is one of the guys that I talked to Cousin Drew about, and he cannot wait for him to be traded. Why is Pat Bev still on the team? Mike, that is a question that I discussed a lot. And I think the only reason is because they couldn't get the point guard that they really wanted. I've been a Clipper fan since I was a kid. I guess it depends on like how old you are, because there is a generation where I would believe it. Like if you were Mike's age, for example, like let's use Mike on the mic as an example here. Mike, if you told me you were a Clippers fan since you were a kid, I'd believe it. 10 years old, you had like, Chris Paul and you had Blake Griffin, you had the Lob City Clippers. But if you said you were a Clippers fan from when I was a kid and it was like Loy Vaught, Michael Olowokandi, like those guys, I'd be like, bro, you're a liar. Eric Piatkowski, like you, there was literally no fans besides like Clipper Darrell and Billy Crystal. And like Frankie Muniz. Like that was the Clipper fan base at that time. But if you're a Clippers fan and you're like in your early 20s and you said, "Oh man, I've been a Clippers fan since I was a kid," I could definitely believe that because there were some good Clipper teams within the last decade outside of the one they currently have now. Ty Lue. I know so deeply. No one does. They just lose. I kind of, here's the thing. I think with a little bit of distance from anything, I can find ways to be happy for most people winning outside of Tom Brady. Like, I could be happy for some of the players on the Clippers if they won a championship, even though I'm a Lakers fan. There's a few guys on the team where I could be like, good for you. Congratulations. With enough time, not initially. Like, even while we're doing this game right now, I am inside cheering very hard for the Jazz. Joe Ingles stroking a three. I'm not even, I don't know why I'm pretending like I'm trying to hide it. I'm not. But I could even be happy for Chris Paul, who right now I can't stand. I could be happy for Devin Booker, who right now I can't stand. Bridges, all the Suns who were peacocking chest out in that first round series. Like they didn't catch a break with the AD injury. Jordan Clarkson. There it is. All the Filipinos in my life going crazy right now. They love Jordan Clarkson. They were very upset when he got traded. I married into a Filipino family. In case some people who don't know me are wondering, like, this dude ain't Filipino. Nobody knows what I am, but they know that. Ty Lue. Did I finish that thought about how Ty Lue so desperately? Who's worse? Did you put this comment up already, Joe? Who's worse, Paul George in the playoffs or Tony Tucker calling the game? Pepperton. Pepperton, it hurts, brother. Oh, illegal screen on Favors? Kind of weak. Kind of weak. Anybody in the chat read those comments from LeBron James? A little tweet thread that he had going off about on everything. Philly doesn't make the finals. You down to split the duo. Maybe CJ Nurkic, possible for Embiid. Oh, you're saying Embiid leaves over Simmons? I think if I'm the Sixers, I'm trying to get a couple more years out of Embiid's knees rather than hoping that magically Simmons is going to come back with a jump shot and some sort of renewed confidence in his free throw percentage. I just don't see that. I think it's more likely that you could get 2 to 3 seasons sort of load managing Embiid's knee issues than you are going to get, like Simmons really turning into some great player. 43-38. Clippers up. Nick Mack saying that Simmons is gone. He's the guy that I would trade if I had to. LeBron's a crazy. Pepperton, just eat one, buddy. In and out. Oh, that was down. If the ball touches the inside of the net, it's got to count. You should get like a point. That's just unlucky. Luke Kennard saying, don't diss me in my $60 million contract. Luke Kennard, Pat Bev. Those are the two players I talked about with Cousin Drew about being traded. And he really wanted Lonzo Ball too. Like, that's the guy he wanted. Joe Ingles playing the passing lane nicely in playoff Rondo. With a terrible pass. Finally gets the sweatpants off and he just throws a pass. Brown was upset Kuzma isn't in the playoffs anymore. Oh, and another bad pass by George. I shouldn't be playing Niang. Reggie Jackson still doing it. Reggie Jackson is playing with confidence I haven't seen him play with in a few years. He did it during the Dallas series. To your Nick, speak on this. Reggie Jackson in that series against the Mavericks was pretty sensational. And he's had some really nice moments in this series against Utah. I think he's going to have to do it again. Kawhi to Dallas with Luka? Just stop it. Don't bring that nonsense in here. Kawhi to Dallas. Did you read that on one of your conspiracy blogs? That's not happening. Yes, you're right. It was unreal. Batum and Reggie Jackson were absolutely like unconscious at certain points against the Dallas Mavericks in that last series.
You did it. A steakhouse.
Can't believe it. But really, Kawhi and Luka is like a deadly combination, Nick. So if that can happen for you, kudos. I would hate it. That is a really good pair of people to put together. Because that's the one thing that whenever I talk to, the one Clippers fan that I'm close to, the only Clippers fan I know, who's watching this game will not answer a text. He will say that he wishes that they had a point guard. And I don't think that there's anybody better. Younger. I want to be careful how I say this because I know Nick's watching and I often tend to bash Luka. I don't think at the age where you could pair them as sort of like Kawhi's phasing to another portion of his career and putting Kawhi and Luka together to me would just be amazing. But right now in this game, like current time, Donovan Mitchell needs to come out here and he needs to put 15 points on the board in this second quarter and put a little bit of a lead and try and crush the spirits. He needs to try and come out here and crush the spirits of the Clippers single-handedly. That's what a Clipper would do. Can't choke in the finals if you don't make it past the second round. Oh, that's real. That's nuts. It's education right there. It's something to think on. Sit on this one for a minute. Just trolling any Clipper fans that we might have a chance to have in here and want to join the conversation. We just got Joe behind the scenes trolling them. But I appreciate it, Joe. I think it's actually really funny. Oh, what was this? Embiid, hang on, let me get this up here. Embiid should retire and go play tight end for the Texans or something. Yeah, like a goal line situation. Like you just sort of put him in there either to block or to catch like a little jump pass up there. I could be with that for sure. He's a giant. I think he'd be okay. Oh, they're showing some old school 1992 Karl Malone working the pick and roll. Back-to-back drafts, they took John Stockton and then took Karl Malone. That's... Jordan Clarkson is feeling it tonight, which is a nice change of pace from him not being able to hit anything while they were in Los Angeles. Maybe he felt the ghost of choking while he was with the... That's not fair. He never really got to develop there. He didn't really have a good chance to succeed while he was in Los Angeles. Oh, Luke Kennard getting rejected and stripped by Rudy Gobert, and we have a shot clock violation. Telling anybody who thinks that his third defensive player of the year was a mistake. Come see the big Frenchman. I wonder if him and Batum curse at each other in French. Like last game, Gobert got a technical. Gobert! That was the ugliest assist in NBA history. He fell down and he was like squirming on the ground. He looked like an anteater whose leg fell asleep and then flops it over to Bogdanovich for an up and under layup to give a 4-point lead. Rondo trying to get these shots up before he's back in his sweatpants. He missed. Chance to push it. Jordan Clarkson about to take his temperature. Not even looking towards anybody else. Dribbling, shooting, swish! Jordan Clarkson on Waggle from downtown. Him and Bogdanovich are feeling it right now. Yeah, of course he was determined. He wanted to see if he still had it, and he still had it. That's the second successful heat check tonight. Bogdanovich took a really bad shot, which was clearly for him to see if he was still hot. And now you got Clarkson out here, 4 of 5 from 3 for 14 points, 5 of 6 in field goals. He needs to be locked in because he was not good in the last game. Like, how nice would it be if Donovan Mitchell had other guys like Bogdanovich and Clarkson that were putting up buckets, and then fourth quarter comes and Donovan Mitchell just gets to say, all right, step aside. Daddy's going to bring it home. Look at this. And Bogdanovich says, I ain't done. I got more. I'm going to hand it out all night long, all night long. 23 points. He's 7 of 8 from 3. I was impressed when Jeff Green did that in a game. He's done it with, there's still 6 minutes and 30 seconds left to play. He's 7 of 8 from 3. Clarkson's like, come on, bro. Anything you can do, I can do better. It's my turn to jack one up. He's dribbling. He's not even looking to pass. He's just trying to get a shot off. They bring the double team, and Bogdanovich, he misses, but underneath, you leave the 7'4". Ho, ho, ho. How do you like this put back? Here I go. Puh. Take it. And Ty Lue calls a timeout. He can feel it. I do like the way Ty Lue uses his timeouts. I think he's good. What does it say? A look at the Clippers championship banners. Oh. There must really be like a good endless supply of Clippers memes. Oh, this might be my favorite one. I'm going to send this to my brother-in-law. I'm going to send this one to him. Because he has been talking a lot of shit to me since the Lakers got eliminated from the playoffs. A lot. And I put up with it because they lost. And he's a Clippers fan. And he deserves his moment to be bragging in the sun. But this is funny. I'm going to send this one to him. I might even make a little card and mail it to his house. So he has to open it in front of his kids and be pissed off. Oh, they just opened it up. Thanks to a super hot Clarkson and Bogdanovich. Bogdanovich, 7 of 8 from 3. I think Clarkson was 5 of 6. These are the shots they were not getting. Okay. I just got into an argument with a Karen at the gym because she had the TV changed off the game. And she won. Wait, Mike, what do you mean she won? Like, she physically win? Like, did she just come over and just whip your ass? She just took the remote out of your hand and just whipped you with it? Is that what happened? How did she win? And here's the other thing. You got to say what she changed the channel to. What did she change it to? Did she change it to something good? Or was she like, I need to watch QVC? Or I need to see what's going on with the mask mandate. They're trying to tell me at Trader Joe's I still got a mask up here in Los Angeles. And she's not having it. I want to know what she changed the channel to. We got Mike on the mics in here admitting that he got whooped by a Karen at the gym. Come on, Mike. Is this because you can't reach it to change the channel? Did she hold the remote over your head like, ha ha, nana, na boo boo? Mike? Come on, Mike. Get back. Get back at me. This commercial break, extra long on this one. Attention, homeowners. I hope not. I didn't check the mail in a minute, but I sure as hell hope not. Where are we at? Joe, hit me with that meme well one more time. Where are we at? You got anything there still? The gym employee changed. Oh, come on. She changed it to Fox News? Oh. Wait, what is this? DVA mechanics. I can't see what that is. There's like a little emoji on there. I'm going to have to come in real close. You guys are going to get to... What is that emoji of? I can't see what that... Somebody tell me what that is. Somebody type out what that's supposed to be an emoji of. So I can't watch the game and Tony Tucker at the same time. You watch the game. Watch the game. You check back in when you can. Okay? Paul George coming out of a timeout, stroking a three. Paul George really, really trying to make a statement. Oh, the lob. Gobert flushing one home. Haven't seen him do that in a couple of games. I think Paul George really trying to, like these last couple of games, like wash a lot of the stink off of his name. He's played really well. Does anybody know? It's an old people. What is that emoji that DVA mechanics put up? Kawhi Leonard looking to dish. Jackson in the corner. Step under. Good ball movement. Marcus Sr. Terance Mann missed. I jinxed Terance. I need to apologize personally to Terance Mann. I said that Terance Mann was going to have the game of his life in my sort of outlandish, bold predictions. He is not playing well. He is not making... He's played okay on the defensive end. He's made a couple of nice plays defensively. Offensively, not good. Mike, who's crying now? You sound dumb. Wait, why is Mike taking shots at old people? Mike, do you not understand that I have feelings? And my time on this planet is a lot more limited than yours. Mike reminds me of the Lakers in the playoffs. Worthless. What? You're not going to believe this. She did one workout and left. No, Mike, I do believe that. I do believe that. She burns enough calories fighting with everybody in her life. Can you imagine what it's probably like to be her? If she went to the gym and couldn't put a podcast on, she needed to hear... This is what I don't understand. When people go to the gym, they're like, can you change it to the news channel? I'm always like, just put a podcast on. Like, there's nothing visually entertaining about it. Like, I like to... If I go to the gym, it's almost more fun to watch stuff like the X Games if there's no major sporting events on, because at least you don't really need to hear anything. You can just see it. Or put UFC on and just watch two people beat the crap out of each other. Marcus Morris Sr. doing work down low, trying to fill the giant shoes of Kawhi Leonard. Got an 8-point game. 4 remaining. Donovan Mitchell been kind of quiet, but hasn't really needed to speak up. Ooh, Jordan Clarkson's first bad play in a while, dribbles off of his shoe. Paul George. Oh, given. Oh, shit. Paul George is flexing. Like legit flexing after. That's okay. Paul George uses his off arm more than anybody else in the NBA and gets away with it every time. It is a good play and a good finish, but then looks at the crowd and gives them the business. Finishing the 3-point play. Paul George playing absolutely spectacular. 15 points in 14 minutes. Is this accurate? No, he's got more than that after the 3-point play, right? Donovan Mitchell was like, "Hey, bro, yes, this is it. This was Paul George right here after he made that last bucket. He was like, take this, Utah." Hit him with a little bit of that Macho Man Randy Savage. That Reggie Jackson miss. Jordan Clarkson. Oof. Good ball movement and Bogdanovich. Wait. That's got to stay down here. Reggie, you need to chill, bro. You're about to get a technical. You don't want to give the Jazz anything easy. You do not want to give them any easy buckets right now. Got an 8-point game with 3 to play. Real chance for them to blow it wide open. Getting back to Mitchell. 11. Oh, they're double teaming Donovan. Oh, that's got to be a foul on Paul George. You tip the ball up. No, you try to tackle him, bro. You did tip it up. Yeah, but even... Yes, you did. Okay. His defense was he tipped the ball in the air. But after that, you can't just hug the dude. You then have to chase after the basketball. Oh, Gobert trying the world's ugliest Euro step. Gets freaking headbutted in the solar plexus. PG missing. Clarkson coming back the other way. Oh, getting his pocket picked by Pat Bev right there. That was like... Oh, Paul George just punked Rudy Gobert. He just like threw him to the ground, grabbed the ball, and gets the putback. Oh, wow. Joe, I have a new challenge for you. This is a fun challenge. Can you find a positive Clippers? Like, can you find like something on the internet that speaks nicely of the Clippers? Good luck with that. I don't believe it exists. But Paul George basically just did what the Karen at the gym did to Mike earlier and the remote control. Just pushed him out of the way and got the bucket. She changed it over to Tucker Carlson. In this case, he got the flush. It is now a 6-point game. Wait, is it 6 or 8? Are they reviewing the foul? Oh, goodness. And then Morris just stepped over him. He didn't have to, but neither did Allen Iverson have to walk over Tyronn Lue. Marcus Morris learned that from watching video of his coach being stepped over in the NBA Finals when Allen Iverson had one of the most tremendous performances ever. Yeah, you never have to step over another human being, but that's when you just get up and you headbutt him in the nutsack. Yeah, you don't get to grab his leg. It's not like, well, he stepped over me and embarrassed me, so I grabbed his ankle. No, you get up and you slam the back of your head into his sack. It's that easy. Getting caught up on these comments. Getting caught up. Mike over here. Yes, I do actually remember this. Like, it's probably similar to being a Chargers fan. Even the Sparks. So still nothing. Still nothing positive about the Clippers. Remember when Rudy Gobert touched everyone's mics in the pandemic? Yes, I do. Yes, I remember this. I talk about this with my wife like on a weekly basis about how funny this moment was. Because I remember watching it and she's like, what if it's real? And I was like, yeah, I know he's going to regret that. And then like a week later, the NBA and the world shut down. Oh, shit. Yeah. That might be the ultimate this didn't age well moment of all time. I missed it because I'm too busy talking. Double technical? Yeah, Marcus Morris was just like, yeah, I was just trying to drip a little ball butter on his head, and he was just trying to make sure his ankles were taped. No need for double technicals in that situation. I don't know. I don't love all the fouls that are just being thrown around here. NBA Defensive Player of the Year stopped the whole NBA. uh, yes. Yes, he did. We have a 6-point game with 2:19 to play. Thank you, Mike. I don't know if you mean it or not, but thank you. Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell. Been very quiet, but pulling up for three. And I got a feeling. Donovan Mitchell, ladies and gentlemen. All NBA team snubbed. Snubbed. 3 for 4, 9 points. The guy's only taken 4 shots in the game. This is actually a very good sign for the Utah Jazz. Paul George is going for 40 plus tonight. Dare I say a 50-point game? Yeah. Pat Bev. Oh, Pat Beverly is somehow one of the most entertaining and ugliest basketball players. Not like physically, aesthetically. I'm just talking about his game in general is hard to watch, but somehow it's still very entertaining. And very few people get as excited as him. I'm the best defender in the league. He very well may be the best defender in the league, but he's not the best free throw shooter. And the Sixers just choked that game away. And as soon as I say something bad about Pat Bev, he makes a nice defensive play on the interior. This moment is just really big, and I think a little bit of that is why I thought Terance Mann would really step into this moment, and he's not done that. He's like looking to get rid of the ball like he's allergic to it on offense. Just running kind of erratically, trying to figure out who to pass the ball to. Sixers choke party. Oh, that's not good. That is not that one. That was just these are the moments when I'm not a fan of new NBA. Like I don't like all of the just like crazy shots whenever because that's what you're supposed to do. Royce O'Neal left on all alone. They basically just stood at half court with Donovan Mitchell. Like 2 guys are like, "Hey Donovan, you are not going to beat us." And Bogdanovich is like, "That's fine." Joe Ingles on the offensive glass kicks, and Bogdanovich, who was super hot in the first half, finishes 0 of 2. 2 chances to get it, and he did it. We're now at halftime, 65-60. Donovan Mitchell's been quiet, but that's because he's only taken like, I don't know, less than 6 shots, 5 shots. Made 3 threes in this game. Paul George, over 20 points in 18 minutes in the first half. What else we got here? Well, we can go to the Jazz side. Bogdanovich and Clarkson. 23 from Bogdanovich, 14 from Clarkson. Both were confident and shooting the ball well from 3, which they did not do in the previous game. So that was nice to see. And there seems to be a nice adjustment to how they're playing Donovan Mitchell by Tyronn Lue, forcing the ball out of his hands. at midcourt. It's a good game. And Paul George, who takes a lot of shit from the internet, from the world, is playing a good game, playing tough, bullying on several plays the defensive player of the year. And what's his name? Rudy Gobert. Sorry, I blanked on his name for a second. But bullying him. Reggie Jackson and Morris both in double digits to help him out. Somebody else, one of these other guys, Batum, Kennard, or Mann is going to have contribute a little bit more in the second half. Joe Ingles over Pat all day. Joe Ingles is big. He can handle the ball, and he can shoot. Like, Joe Ingles would be a very nice addition to the Clippers team at point guard. Just based on the fact of how he shoots the basketball and he can handle it. I mean, he's not going to be one of the best point guards in the league, but if you put him next to Kawhi and Paul George at point, yeah, he'd be a nice addition. But he's also like the third best point guard on the Jazz, which is why they were one of the best teams all year, because you either have Donovan Mitchell, Mike Conley, or Joe Ingles with the ball. And it was just unstoppable. Every time I would turn it on, I was just like, how are the Jazz, their defense is sound and they move the ball well in offense. Nobody's really selfish. It's really great. I'm going to take a break here. Joe, you want to throw this the thing up on the screen? I will be back for the second half. I'm having a lot of fun. Welcome back into the second half. Here we go. Got a 5-point Jazz lead. Terance Mann going strong to the rack, and Gobert looking around like I was just standing there. He was. That's not a foul. Not a foul. But to each their own. It does feel like that's how the NBA has been trending in that direction. Weird fouls. Shit fouls. Tell somebody about the Terance Mann at the free throw line. Makes the first one. Converts the second. We get a 3-point game. Donovan Mitchell. All right, it's time to cook. Oh. Dribbles it off Mann's foot. Limps away. Not a good sign. Don't want to see Donovan Mitchell limping out there at all. Royce O'Neal, he started aggressive and then went away. But he's going in, realizing that Reggie Jackson can't play defense with him. He just can't. Paul George continuing to be aggressive. Oh, and even Paul George is getting up like he's tough, like he wants a fight. They're going to take a look at what? What are they taking a look at? This is what I don't... I guess he hooked him around like the backside of the shoulder, but this is being reviewed for a flagrant foul? Like, Paul George is coming in at a weird angle. How is it? If you're defending a guy and he turns in midair into your body and your arm ends up on his shoulder, this better not be a flagrant foul. I'm still pissed off about the Joker's flagrant 2 the other night where he gets taken out of the game. But I will say that I do like the fact that Paul George came out and was like continuing to be aggressive, not settling for threes, not being afraid of the moment that's in front of him. Because he really can do a lot to change the narrative on him of winning. Oh my goodness. What there's a lot of rules that need to be looked at. Like they're going to look at the something about the shooters, like when they're making a non-basketball move, that they're not going to give the shooter the foul. There's some competition committee. They also need to be looking at the flagrant foul. Like that was not a flagrant foul. There was nothing about that was intentional. There was nothing about that was like overly aggressive. I just don't understand it. 2 free throws and the ball. And you get a 90% free throw shooter at the line because he brought the contact to O'Neal. And then they're saying that he wrapped him around the neck. Okay, great. Clippers with a chance to tie the game with a 3. But Reggie Jackson taking it strong. Terance Mann on the offensive glass. He dribbles out. Going to go one-on-one with Gobert and give him the business, pulling up over the big Frenchman for the deuce. It is 66-67, 10-2 run over the last 3 minutes. Joe Ingles with a wide-open 3 off the front iron. Royce O'Neal dumped to the ground. Paul George looking to be aggressive. Gets the ball to Marcus Morris Sr., who hits a 3 Quinn, I don't want to tell you how to spend your timeouts, brother, but this is a terrible way to start the quarter. Ingles gets a much-needed basket to tie things at 69. Terance Mann for 3. We got a tie game. Come on, Donovan. Cook. Yeah, but is the ankle bothering him that much? He's not even really looking to get to the basket. Maybe a couple times. But Paul George says the defensive player of the year is waiting for me, and he scoffs at the idea that he should be hurting. Daniel, how you doing, brother? You want to get in here and talk a little hoops with me? Let me know. We'll send you a link. Your Suns looked really good. I still don't think they're going to the finals. And maybe that's just because I'm a Lakers hater. It'd be nice too, Daniel, if the Jazz would start playing like they were the best team all year. Daniel from the Shooting Bricks podcast. Great podcast. Follow them on Twitter, Instagram. Check them out. Group of guys get together, love talking hoops. Shooting Bricks podcast. I hope I'm getting that right. If I'm getting it wrong, Daniel, throw it in the chat. I will correct it for you. Into Donovan Mitchell. Clippers by 2. 9 minutes to play. It's been all Clippers to start the second half, and we've already had a flagrant-ish foul called. Mitchell limping for the second time in the second half, but at least this time he looked to be aggressive and looked to try and get to the rack. Yeah, there's nobody in there that should intimidate any of these players from trying to get there. It's nice when you're hot, shoot the threes. Bogdanovich and Clarkson in the first half, they were making it rain. But when it's not going down like that, there is no need for that to happen. Mitchell at the line, chance to tie the game. First one's good. Whew. Quinn, you got to talk to your boys. You got to get him in here. We cannot have a collapse against a Clippers team that just lost Kawhi Leonard. I'm saying we like I'm part of the Jazz or I'm a Jazz fan. I'm not. I'm just heavily invested in being right once in a while when I make predictions. So it'd be nice if the Jazz wouldn't lose at home to the Clippers when they lost Kawhi Leonard. Many people would say a top 5 player in the game. He's been so good. You're right, Greg Anthony. He has been good. Better than good. Donovan Mitchell taking crazy shots, trying to draw fouls. That can't be the game plan. Batum misses the 3. Clippers by 3. Joe Ingles got the ball at the top of the key. Ingles put some work in. There we go. I don't love it in your hands, Rudy. Get rid of it. Just offense is very stagnant with the lack of ability. Sure, why not? All right, let me get you the link. I'll send it to you over on where are you at, on Twitter? I don't know where you're at. I'll send it to the Shooting Bricks Instagram because that's the one I know where it's at. You let me know if you want to get in there or not. I can't even see myself right now. I'm just disgusted with what's going on with the Utah Jazz. This cannot be the circumstances. Or, I'm sorry, the circumstances could not be any better for them to win this game. There you go, Daniel. The link is in the Shooting Bricks IG. Let me know if that works. Whew. Oh, Twitter sounds cool. Okay. I can do Twitter too. Joe's got to be going nuts right now. He's like, Tony, you're trying to do two things at once. Everybody knows that's an absolute fail. It is an absolute fail. Okay. Boom. There we go. Hopefully that's the right Daniel. Oh. But even so, like I've been talking a lot with people and NBA fans in general about all of the injuries that have been taking place. And there has to be something due to the fact of like how quick the turnaround and the start of the season was. And now we're seeing Donovan Mitchell. He was banged up at the end of the year, got banged up again inside the playoffs. Like, is it even going to be that much fun to see the Jazz advance if he's hobbled or can't play? Like, would it be that much fun to watch the Suns play the Jazz without Donovan Mitchell? Like, part of the appeal to me is that I get to see Devin Booker and Donovan Mitchell go. They get to trade. They get to go back and forth. And if it's not there, I'd almost rather see even a Kawhi-less, like if the knee injury is as bad as some people think it is, like I'd almost rather see the Clippers because at least they'd have Paul George. And that's a conversation piece. Like, not a lot of people want to be talking about Joe Ingles and Bogdanovich and even Mike Conley if he comes back. If you're a big-time basketball fan like me, you like it. But the casual fan, they don't really care. Daniel is here and ready to come in. Daniel, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Tony. I'm going to be honest with you. This is going to mean if the results hold, this is going to be quite embarrassing for Utah. You got to beat the Clippers tonight.
Yes.
You got to beat the Clippers. You got to beat them.
Kawhi
makes it go round and round.
Here's the thing. To me, it's the worst loss in the playoffs. You're at home and they lose Kawhi Leonard. Like, you have to win this game when you've been the best team all year. It's worse than what happened to the Bucks yesterday, and it's worse than what happened tonight to the Sixers. Because at least the Sixers lost to a pretty complete Atlanta team. Can't lose to the Clippers without Kawhi Leonard.
I'm gonna have to say something. If the Clippers do end up losing the series, which is still a possibility, I think Kawhi Leonard might have played his last game in LA. Because he has his option coming up, and if he decides to opt out, I could see him ditching that, like the Clippers. So, but Utah has got to execute tonight, and I don't think Donovan Mitchell is 100%.
No, I don't think so either. He's not even being aggressive. Like, I think I can remember 2 drives to the basket the whole game, and they're playing without a center. Like, it's not like there's anybody in the middle that would intimidate you from going in there. Are you afraid of Batum or Marcus Morris Sr.? You better not be.
Yep. I'm just hoping, as a Laker fan, I'm hoping the Jazz somehow pull out tonight, but it doesn't seem like it. This is bad. This is bad. Like, come on.
Well, Clarkson's back in the game now, so that gives me hope because at least he's a shot creator and maybe he'll be aggressive. I haven't given up on the Jazz fully, but I will say that, like, I am impressed. I don't like the Clippers at all either, but I've been impressed with Paul George. Yeah. A lot of people who are basketball fans and we talk basketball, we give Paul George a lot of shit, and this guy is playing really well tonight.
Yeah, I'll give him credit tonight. Personally, he does not have the heart of a champion.
Ooh, what? Oh, man. I don't know. That was kind of a weak foul they just called on Jordan Clarkson. I don't understand all the fouls now. Did you see the foul a couple of minutes ago on Royce O'Neal?
Yeah, I did. I'm on an illegal stream, so I could be a couple seconds behind.
Okay, yeah. Well, there's a technical foul coming up for Clarkson that was absolutely garbage. But this to me, like when I'm watching this NBA, like sometimes I really don't like. It's hard for me to watch because first of all, it favors the offense so much, and then even when there are defensive plays, you can't be too aggressive or it's a foul. Like, did you think that was a flagrant 2 on Djokovic the other night in the elimination game against the Suns?
I'm going to be honest with you. No.
Yeah.
I don't think Jokic had any intention of hitting him. It was all accident. Up to me, a flagrant foul is when a player has every intention or that hit was ultimately very dangerous to the opposing side. And that, like, neither was the case in that case at all. Jokic did not deserve to get ejected.
Well, these players now, they get hit and then they act like they're dead. Like they fall over and it's like he suffered automatic CTE, Cameron Payne. He falls to the ground and the ref goes over there and he's like, we got to call something. And they eject the MVP from the game. And now I'm watching this. All of the contact was initiated by Paul George, who contorts his body in a weird way. He ends up in the belly of Royce O'Neal, whose arm ends up on his shoulder, and they call him for a flagrant foul.
Offense, man. It's offense. The league wants offense. The league wants offense. It's style. It gets the kids to watch the television set. It's only, it's just the way it is.
Yes, they just called a pretty weak foul on Bogdanovic, and he's just like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I can't do anything. And Paul George again. Paul George is really has an opportunity, Daniel, to I think to clear up a lot of the things that we say about him. Come on, dance, Mitchell.
I don't really agree with that. I think what we've seen from Paul George is what we're going to get. I think, he's going to have a good night or two, but we know who he is.
But that's the thing is that, like, we do know who he is, but I can allow for when new information is presented, I can allow that information to come in. And if he has a good run without Kawhi, that to me says a lot for him. Now, do I think that he would get past the Suns by himself in a 7-game series? I wouldn't bet him. But if he did, but if he did, you then have to reevaluate it a little bit, in my opinion. At least I would.
Obviously, I think this Clipper experiment is on the verge of being over. It's failed already, and I think Kawhi is gone after this year.
Where do you see him going? Or if you don't have that, where would you like to see him go?
Where do I see him going? If I'm going to be honest with you, I think Miami has a very big chance of picking him up.
Wow.
There are multiple things to make Kawhi work. He needs a good front office, which I will say the Clippers do have. Steve Ballmer is a dedicated owner. But what the Clippers lack in comparison to what San Antonio and Toronto had, he needs another person on the roster that can lead him. He doesn't have that in LA. The Clippers.
No, I think I know where you were going with that.
He needs like a Greg or Manu. No, not Manu. Hello?
Yeah, no, you froze up for
it's okay, but he needs another veteran presence on the team to lead him. Kawhi Leonard is not a natural leader. He just isn't. In Miami, he has that. He has Pat Riley, Mickey Arison, Eric Spoelstra, and he also has Jimmy Butler, who can take the leadership reins for him in Miami.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Kawhi Leonard, whatever the most teams he goes to me is the best player, but he's not going to be the guy that is going to galvanize. He's not going to be a rah, bring them together. Here's what we have to do. He's going to say, I'm going to go out there and ball and do everything I can and be supportive of you. I don't like Kawhi's not one of those guys to me that gives condescending looks to his teammates when they're bad, but he also doesn't go over and try and pick them up emotionally when things are bad either. And you need the guy who does the latter of those two things on a winning basketball team.
I definitely agree with you. Sometimes you do need guys to condescend to players, though. Like, I mean, as Lakers fans, I think we needed LeBron James to be more aggressive with his fellow teammates during the disaster we just saw. I think LeBron James gave up and he threw in the towel way too early. That was my issue with it, and he just didn't seem to care.
Yeah, I don't go down the road of it as quitting. I think that this is the early exit. I've been trying to put like sort of a silver lining on it. I think of it as almost like a blessing in disguise, right? Where the Lakers end up being out early, and this is sort of the extended break that they need. Like if they went on and played another 7 game series in the second round, that does not benefit them because ultimately I don't think AD was getting back and getting healthy enough for them to have a legit shot at another title. So in some ways it's like it's just over. And I don't really know how LeBron could have been as condescending as he wanted. They were getting slapped around in the games 5 and 6 in the first quarter. They were down like 30 points in those games. Like there's no dirty look you could give them that would have changed it.
I just wished he would have given it a little bit more effort. That's all I wished would have been the case. I mean, my issue was Game 4 happens, right? AD gets hurt, and they come out in halftime. It's still a winnable game, but they don't even try. They could have been up 3-1 if they gave a shit. But that's my problem. I mean, we were gonna lose the series anyway. I just wish LeBron gave a little bit more heart at the end. I get why he did it though. You know, when you have dumbass Kyle Kuzma on your squad, it's hard. It's hard. I get it. But here's the thing. I think people are being kind of, I think they're dismissing the Lakers too early. I feel some people are. And I think next year, I'm predicting we're gonna be in contention. We're gonna be in contention. I think it's gonna be the last year in the window, but I think the Lakers are gonna have one big last hurrah.
Well, I definitely can see that. I don't see the last year of the window because AD is still so young. But it also depends on who else that they bring in. Like I've seen some moves where people are like, "Oh man, Russell Westbrook could come." I'm like, I don't really like that. I would prefer Bradley Beal.
No, we need a shooter.
Yes, the ultimate person I want is Dame Lillard, but I don't think that is even in the realm of possibility. Like
he's my dream. He's the dream.
He's who I would love to see in a Lakers uniform next year, but I just don't think that that's possible. We had a Mavs fan in here earlier, and he was saying, "What about Kawhi to Dallas? What do you think of that move?"
It would actually be a good move. I didn't really think of that. You would have all the pieces you need.
Yep. Yeah, I think that the move there, like that's a pretty dream fit because you have somebody like Luka who is fiery and passionate and has a lot of that rah quality that Kawhi doesn't have. But you would have two guys that are probably top 8, top 10, to at least 2 top 10 players together, like on the same team. So I think that would be a real dynamite matchup. And I also think that Mark Cuban Come on, Mitchell. Be aggressive, please. I think that Mark Cuban would kind of support and enable a lot of the stuff that Kawhi likes. A lot of the taking a couple days off here and there and whatever. Like, I think he'd be fully in support of that.
In all honesty, that's actually in a way, that is a better fit. That's a better fit than Miami because, come on, Luka's going to be, in my opinion, I think he's going to be the best player of the decade. Zion could be the face, but I think Luka's going to be the best player of the decade. No doubt.
Yeah, I don't want to travel down that road right now. But for me, the problem with going to Miami is that Jimmy Butler does not like the guys who are not 1,000% in. Like he's already had a lot of issues with teammates in the past who are not as intense as he is. And I could see an issue with Kawhi and like, oh, we lost the game and our chemistry's off. Kawhi wanted to take the night off. I could see him being upset with that.
I kind of have a rebuttal of this one. Yes, Kawhi Leonard would be, would kind of annoy Jimmy Butler on some nights, but here's the difference. Kawhi Leonard is a champion. He's also a veteran of the game. So if he lands in South Beach, he would instantly have Jimmy Butler's respect. And Jimmy Butler would kind of know how to deal with him on the onset. Because Kawhi Leonard already has a reputation. And back in Minnesota, those were young guys. Like, they were still establishing who they were. But in this potential situation, that's not really the case. So I think Jimmy Butler would kind of know what he's getting himself into, and he would kind of know what he's expecting.
Yes, I can see that to some point. I think he does. He gets a little bit longer of a leash on before he loses the frustration. We got George Niang shooting one-legged fadeaway jumpers and making him in this game, and we got Pat Bev making three-pointers. Like, he's capable of it, but just come on, Jazz, play better defense. Now he's hitting floaters over the defensive player of the year that everybody loves so much. Give me a break. 88-82 Jazz. When you jumped on here, you said that you didn't like where this was headed for the Utah Jazz. And it's not, I'm not going to lie. Like, they're just jacking up threes. The ball's not moving on offense anymore. You got George Niang going one-on-one, and everybody's new favorite owner, what's his name? Ballmer, pumped on the sidelines in Utah right now. Told me to have faith. What are you talking about, Flash? You told me to have faith in what? The Clippers? Come on!
I still have the Jazz winning this series.
I have always, I had him in 6 to begin. Oh, wow. Is that a travel? Oh, finally. Finally, it's so nice when they realize that Paul George uses his off arm on every single drive and stuffs it into the midsection of the other person. They called him for a charge. It only took 3/4 of Royce O'Neal getting punched in the sternum for them to call a foul. Clippers, 8-point lead, minute 10 to play.
8-point lead, that's honestly, that lead is too big at this point of the game for Utah.
They got a whole quarter to play. If they can, they're just too in love with the three. I was talking about part of the reason when I was talking in the first half, part of the reason I don't love basketball as much as I used to is this idea that, like, if we just keep jacking up threes, they'll eventually start going in, and we're just playing the odds that we're going to hit more 3-pointers.
Which is ridiculous. I definitely agree with you. I mean, I definitely missed the mid-rangers, and but footwork. Well, okay, footwork still exists, but like you know what I mean.
Yeah. But there's like this idea that like what Steph Curry did was like he revolutionized the game. It's like, no, we kind of ruined it. And
He did.
it's not that he ruined it. It's just that you have a lot of people thinking they can be like him. And I really believe that there's like two people that could maybe play on that level that I would be okay with doing that. Dame and Luka are like the two players where I'm like, hey, you want to take crazy shots? You've made enough of them for me to be okay with it. But everybody else, knock it off. The Bucks last night had James Harden in the paint on half a foot, and they didn't go in at him one time. And it's because that's where we're headed now.
I just think the fundamentals of the game have gotten lost a bit with, Curry's 3-point revolution. I'm not saying Curry's like not a fundamental player. No, he's deeply rooted in the fundamentals of the game. I just think the game has become too focused on the 3-pointer, and you see it in the upcoming generations. People are just so obsessed with it. Like there's other parts of the game of basketball. It's a 3-layer game. There's the mid-rangers, then there's the paint. And that's gotten lost.
Yeah, it also makes me like, because I'm really hard on Zion. I don't think Zion's nearly as great as everybody else thinks he is.
Oh man, he's damn. Look, I think I mean obviously I don't think he's ever going to be like, he's not even close to LeBron, and his team is probably not even better than Giannis's, but he is very fun to watch. You gotta admit.
Yeah, no. I admit that he's fun to watch and everything else, but like I don't want to get into my criticisms on Zion. But the thing that I wanted to say was that it devalues my opinion of him, because I'm like, well, he can't shoot, so he doesn't really fit in the game today. But it's like that shouldn't even, I should almost take that away from my evaluation, because it kind of drives to my point that I want to see more guys scoring inside, and that's where he does all of his damage. So I should be elevating that part of his game. Instead, I look at it as sort of like, well, this is a negative grade for me because all he does is score inside. We got a 9-point lead heading into the fourth quarter for the Utah Jazz at home against a Kawhi-less Los Angeles Clippers. I'm not going to lie, the game was not headed in this direction for me early on. I didn't think, even like before halftime, there was like a little bit of a letdown by the Jazz again. They had like an 8-point lead. They allowed it to get close to 5. And then they came out in the second half, and they were the aggressors. They were the team that was playing desperate. Like, it was early on in the game. This was another thing that I was talking about. Where are the guys who are afraid to get a little bumps and bruises from diving for loose balls? I'm not seeing any desperation from these teams, to me, that need to play desperate. They're playing like they've already won championships. Paul George, look at this. Look at this meme we got on the screen. It doesn't even need a caption. It's what's happening right now. Paul George is just punking the Utah Jazz in Utah. And good for you, Paul, because you've been the butt of a lot of jokes, and it's good for you to have a night here. Have a night, young man. Where are we at here?
Pandemic
Paul George.
P.
Pandemic P. You know what? I won't call him that on a night when he's got 30 points through 3 quarters. Playoff P tonight. 29 minutes, 30 points. He's gonna be able to watch Sports Center tomorrow, or FS1, or whatever his choice is. He's gonna be able to turn it on. Now, here's the thing with the Clippers. Yes. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for waking up and coming back with the memes. That's what I needed. And I needed that. I need a little fire in my belly. He's going to be able to wake up tomorrow and enjoy TV, enjoy all the nice things that people are going to say about him, except unless he does a very Clippers thing, which is to blow a lead, a game in which you have it in the hands. It's already at home. It's taken care of. That's happened before. He starts settling for jump shots and not being aggressive and not trying to get his little push off to the basket. This could be bad for him. This could end badly. That's my hope. Where is my... Sorry. Donovan Mitchell, 10 points. So before the game, Daniel, I did some outlandish predictions. What do we got here? Kawhi is the best player, but PG is the most important player. Shaquille O'Neal. You know what? I kind of get what he's saying. I kind of get the point of that statement because it doesn't matter how good Kawhi plays if Paul George is terrible and is taking 20 shots and only making 6. That's going to bring the team.
We saw that last year.
Yeah,
we saw that last year.
Yeah,
the Denver series.
I get what the Big Diesel's saying. I get it. And my favorite Shaq voice. 10 points. My big prediction. What does this say? When Paul George has a bad game. Before the game started, I predicted that Terance Mann was going to have a career night. And I was horribly wrong on that. That was my outlandish prediction, that he was going to go for 30 plus tonight. And he has not done that. There's the sense that the Jazz are playing like they can just turn it on whenever they want, right? That they have some sort of switch. They know where they're at in the game. They know when it's time. They know when things are slipping away. The thing is that you don't know.
I hate it when teams act like that, personally. It's stupid.
But there's I've watched some championship teams. I would say the Warriors had a little bit of that for a while when the Warriors, especially towards the end, that last run, we saw them go to 6 games with the Clippers. A couple of times they were like, hey, we can turn it on. And then it was a little too late. And they ultimately won the series. I didn't think they were going to lose to Montrezl Harrell and Pat Bev's Clippers that year. But there is Paul George apology for that's a good one. But that team had already been to the finals 4 years in a row or whatever. They knew they had been in those moments.
Mm-hmm.
You can do those kind of things when you have championship players. You cannot do those kind of things when you have never
This is
done
young squad.
Joe Ingles going hard to the basket, 85-92. Take him, Australia. Take him down under the hoop, my friend, and just put the ball in the basket. It's a terrible Australian accent. That's what you get here, Daniel. You get bad accents and impressions whenever I get in front of a microphone.
I have cousins in Australia, so they might agree with you.
Yes.
I have to ask them.
They might agree how bad my Australian accent is.
It needs some work, Tony. It needs some work. I will say that for sure.
I'm gonna take it to the lab and I'm gonna polish it up. I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna binge watch Crocodile Dundee. I'm gonna watch blanked on my stand-up's name. They did just have a little burst of energy. Paul George had a good game. I will be entertained to see. Paul George did just throw away the ball. He did just have a really bad pass. Now, why does it take your backup point guard for the one to be aggressive and say, Donovan Mitchell really must still be hurting if Joe Ingles is the one who says, all right, guys, I'm going to be aggressive. I'm going to be the one who's not afraid of the free throw line. I'm going to be the one to attack the paint. when the tallest guy on the other team is 6'10" and a half.
I'm going to be honest with you, Tony. With all the injuries that have gone on this season, I won't lie. I have not enjoyed this season as much as I wanted to. It's just like it's not helped the product.
Oh no, I'm 1,000% with that. I was saying that when they said they were restarting the league so quick, I was like 72 days. Like you can't ask. You would never, ask like a high performance vehicle to just go run the next day after you ran, the Indy 500. You wouldn't just be like, all right, well, we ran 500 miles
Absolutely.
on Sunday. We're just going to fire the car up. No. You need to take the proper amount of time off, retool the car. Like these are the same things. These are high performance athletes who need a little bit of time away. A lot of people said there was going to be injuries, and now we've seen injuries to even young guys suffered this year. Donovan Mitchell,
Jamal Murray.
Jamal Murray is the saddest case of all of them. It's like this is going to set back his progress. Like it clearly set back the Nuggets season. They should not have gotten swept, whether you think they were going to beat the Suns or not. They shouldn't have gotten swept.
I think that should have ended in 6 games. Denver goes to the next round if they had Jamal Murray on that team.
Oh wow. Yeah, I'm going to have a hard disagreement on that, but I get it. I think that like they're much better. I don't think Jamal Murray's the difference between a 4-2 victory and a 4-0 sweep. I think it's a 6-7 game series, and maybe Jamal Murray has like a nice 40-50 point game and is the difference. Takes a little bit of pressure off the Joker, but okay. Donovan Mitchell is guarding Pat Bev. George being aggressive, and now nobody's guarding Pat Bev. Corner 3 misses, rims out. Donovan Mitchell's got the ball. 8:51 to play in the fourth quarter. Jazz at home, losing to the Clippers without Kawhi Leonard. That just sounds insane to me. Mitchell trying to be aggressive, but just doesn't have a step. There's just not that gear that he normally has. He's trying.
When you're in the playoffs, you got to be aggressive.
Yeah, and he's trying. Like he's trying to go to the basket. It's not like, I don't know if you were able to watch the game last night, but James Harden wasn't even trying to go. Like he just didn't have any push off, any power in that leg, and it's like he played 46 minutes.
That game was all on Coach B. Just saying. That was Mike Budenholzer's fault. He should have made adjustments during that game, but he got stubborn. He refused to. He's a regular season coach, and he proved to me last night that he has no business of ever coaching a championship caliber team. He's just not that coach.
I have agreement. I'm in agreement with that. I feel so bad saying those things about somebody and their job and their livelihood, but you're probably right. We saw it with the Atlanta Hawks. We are now seeing it when you have Drew Holiday, Giannis, and Chris Middleton, and good veterans, PJ Tucker, Lopez. Like they have a very good team. Oh my goodness, Reggie Jackson. He went to the bench, cleared the fog from his glasses, and he's dropping in rainbows. Got a bad foul on Pat Bev under the hoop. Trying to be aggressive, but that's his game. That's what he does. Reggie Jackson. Blade. Slaying vampires right now in Utah. Get him, son. Get him. We got a 5-point game. I can't believe they're winning.
Embarrassing.
That's a bad foul. It's a terrible, terrible foul. But this is, hang on a second. They are now reviewing this as a flagrant foul? He bumped into Donovan Mitchell. This isn't... Wait, is this review? I don't understand. I can't hear. Are they reviewing this, or is this a... to go for... This can't be for a flagrant. This can't be for a flagrant, or I may have to stop watching basketball for a while. This must be like a review by Tyronn Lue trying to save the foul or something, because... Oh, away from the play foul. Okay. Well, I'm glad that you took 3 minutes of my life to figure that out. The ball wasn't even inbounded yet when the foul blew. So there was no play. All right. Donovan Mitchell at the free throw line. He's got to make these gimmies. Whew. Love that sound. 4-point game. Pat Bev still arguing. You were talking too about like how it's tough to enjoy this year. Like we got injury possibly if the Sixers advance. There's never any guarantees, but Joel Embiid's knee, we don't know with already a partial tear whether or not that's going to hold up in the next round. We got the Nets are limping around and being dragged along by KD and Jeff Green last night.
Yeah.
And Harden, like Kyrie Irving's thing. I don't think injury wasn't necessarily have anything to do with a quick restart, but still, like, he's injured. Donovan Mitchell's banged up if they get to the next round. Like, there's really two teams that have been healthy this year, and it's been the Suns and the Bucks have really avoided major injuries. And the Suns aren't wasting any time. Like the Suns are being attacked by COVID. That's it. Like that's the only thing that's trying to stop them. Like the Bucks are actually standing in their own way. Oh my goodness. Reggie Jackson has just been an assassin in the playoffs.
I'm gonna be real. Brooklyn won the chip last night. That was Milwaukee's game. That was their opportunity to take control of the series, and they fucked up.
Yeah, no, yes, that was, like I said before, the worst loss to me was yesterday. I couldn't believe what happened. And then I'm watching the game before this one, and the Sixers have a 20-point lead at home against a 5-seed Hawks, and they lose. And then I was like, well, surely there's no way that the Clippers can come into Utah without Kawhi Leonard and win a game against a team that won the most games with everybody but Mike Conley. And they're up 7 points with 6 minutes and 50 seconds to play in the third quarter. And Nicholas Batum is dropping threes to make it a 10-point lead. It is a 10-point lead in Utah. And the Baguette is dropping bombs. 109.
10-1.
Oh, Joe, perfect timing. Ballmer. This is like he's done. Daniel, I don't know if you're in the LA area or not, but I am, and he's really done everything he's possibly could to make the Los Angeles Clippers relevant in LA. Like my kids all have Clipper backpacks, lunch boxes. Like he's given so much free swag to the kids.
As a Laker fan, I mean, you probably feel this way too. I hate the Clippers. Like their entire presence in this. I'm in Long Beach, so I'm from the Long Beach area. I consider myself an Angelino, and like I just despise the Clippers, and I wish they would just move out because if last year taught anything, the Clippers will never really belong here. They don't. I just wish they would get out to Vegas or Seattle or something, but that's not gonna happen. So the Clippers, other than Celtics, they're a close second to the group of teams I hate.
I have trouble hating anybody that's never been great. That's like that's a default for me, like as a human being. I can't, even though I don't like the Clippers, I have trouble hating them because they've just generally been bad.
Here's how I view the Clippers. They're, as a Laker fan, they're an encroachment on our territory. That's how I'll say this. They're like an unwelcome guest in our house, and you just wish they would get out.
Yeah, I get it. I get the neighbors coming over and offering my wife like wine and roses and stuff like that. It's like, hey, bro, take it on down the street. You're not welcome here. I get it. I'd swing on him. But the Clippers, like, I don't know. Maybe if the guy came in and he was, I don't want to travel down this analogy road. It's not going to head to a good spot. But the Clippers and Steve Ballmer, he's put in so much time, effort, and money. The amount of billboards when you drive around here, what he's done for Kawhi, the shoe deal.
He really wants to make it work here. He really does.
Well, he's building that new arena, and I heard it's going to be real nice.
I've seen the concept arts. I will admit it's going to shape into a good arena. I mean, it's kind of weird because they're taking the Lakers' old spot in Inglewood.
Yeah. I love it. I love Ballmer does this dance where he goes like this with his hands when he gets excited. I'm always like, at the beginning, I'll be honest, I didn't really care for it, right? Because I was like, I used to think to myself, like, bro, you're a billionaire, act like it. And then I started thinking, I was like, oh, if I was a billionaire and I owned a team and all I had to do was like go watch my basketball team, I would probably be doing the same thing. Ballmer out there.
I will give him credit. He's a competent owner.
Oh, they got this guy. He's falling asleep with the Jazz. Oh, this guy's got to be blitzed. Come on, get him off the screen. They just had a close up of some dude falling asleep. He looked like he was going to. He's like, oh, I'm going to bed. It's probably past his bedtime. It is Utah. Nice pass inside. Got free throws coming to Gobert. 6:33. Holy crap. Okay. I got to get on the edge of my chair. I got to get into this. I got to put some positive energy out there for the Utah Jazz. What are your feelings on Rudy Gobert? Are you a defender of? Do you like Rudy Gobert?
I mean, I thought what he did last year was a dumbass move, but I like him as a player a lot. He's one of the best defensive centers of the game, and I personally, I mean, there's other bigs better than him, but if you can get a Rudy Gobert, I would not, miss on a chance of getting it. He's definitely a plus on a team.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like he feels a little overrated. He feels like a lot of money for when the playoffs come, games like this. I feel like the Clippers should not have had as much success as they've had going there. And a steal by Joe Ingles going the other way. Oh! And he hits the trailer Gobert as I'm defaming him here on the live talking about how overrated he is. He comes in and delivers the flush. Look at Joseph Ingles hitting the trailer. The place is going nuts. I bet they woke up that old man in the front row. Fantastic. My problem with Rudy Gobert is anybody who wants to waste the time and rewatch the Clippers game, there's been a lot of success inside the paint in this game and a lot attacking at him. And I would just like for that not to be the case if he's one of my max players. Like, and especially if you don't offer me much offensively, then I need you to be sort of Ben Wallace-esque, like with the Pistons, or, Dennis Rodman was at certain points. Dikembe was at certain points. There's certain players you can get abused by. If Gobert gets worked by Anthony Davis, Jokic, or Embiid, I'm fine with that. You're talking about three of the best players in basketball. But if you're getting worked by Paul George in the paint, and Batum is giving you buckets in the paint, and Marcus Morris is giving you buckets inside the key, like, I can't have that.
I see your point. It's just
Yes, one of the all-time great defenders right there, and just characters and human beings of all time. Dennis Rodman, a friend. He was one of my favorite bad boys ever. Daniel, I grew up in Michigan, and the Bad Boys was the first team I was ever introduced to. So I grew up with like Joe Dumars and, Rick Mahorn, Bill Lambier, Vinnie Johnson. Like, I grew up with all those teams. Young Dennis Rodman before the hair coloring and whatever else. Like, I was there. But I've lived out in LA now 18 years, and I don't get Piston games, so I moved my way over to the Lakers. But I was originally introduced to basketball, Chuck Daly and that whole Pistons squad.
How popular are the Pistons in Detroit? Just curious.
See, that's the problem, is I'm not really from Detroit, because I'm like, Michigan's a weird state, so I'm like 8 hours north. I grew up in the upper Michigan area. Mm-hmm. I would say that time they were pretty popular. Motown was also still kind of a thing then. In the late 80s, you didn't really have like all of the jobs fleeing. If you ever want to see something depressing, watch the Michael Moore, Roger and Me documentary. It's like soul crushing to see what they did to the Motor City. But now I think that like just where a lot of people started to come into the feed when you had the Dennis Rodman up there in a wedding dress. I will say this, that the Pistons on paper right now have a lot of young talent. I don't think that they're going to get a lot of I don't think they're going to get a lot of players to go there. Like, I like some of the I like Sadiq Bey. I like what's his name? Killian Hayes. Mm-hmm. I like the Stewart guy they have. Like, there's some good players. They're not going to get any veteran talent to go play in Detroit. It's just not going to happen.
I think they're going to be a young team for a while. I mean, it would obviously benefit them if they get to, get Cade through the draft. Cade Cunningham.
Oh yeah. It would be a nice boost, but then to me, like, you need the right coach. You need somebody who develops young talent. You need somebody like the guy that I keep hoping gets hired in some of these places, like, oh, he threw it away. Finally, somebody dove on the ball, and it's the guy with the busted ankle. Get over there and help your guy off the floor. Thank you. The guy that I think is good with young talent is Mark Jackson. And I would like to see him get another shot at coaching. And preferably it'd be great if it was with a veteran team so he didn't have to rebuild, but I think he would be a good coaching candidate for a team like maybe the Sacramento Kings, who are another team that I think has some good young players that are just not being developed. Come on, Mitch.
The Sacramento Kings are...
Oh! Donovan Mitchell!
Wow. Damn.
Thank you for showing up. Thank you, Donovan Mitchell. Can I get my one? This is the guy in the first half that I was saying was robbed of all NBA, and we just saw it right there. They cost him millions of dollars by not giving him the nod. Some of the guys on there. I will be talking about this in more depth on a later show. But what a play. What a way to show up. This is it. The final 5 minutes, Donovan Mitchell needs to take this game over, and we can be right with the world. The best team in the Western Conference can go ahead and beat the Clippers without Kawhi Leonard. Converts the three-point play. We got a 3-point game with 5:46. Let's bring Daniel back in here. Here we go. We don't need to see just my face on the screen. Nobody needs that. There we go. Daniel. Sorry, got a little excited. Woo! Oh! I thought we had a turnover. Are you able to see this? Am I too far ahead of you on the game where I'm just reacting to stuff you haven't seen yet?
Oh, no. We're pretty close. We're pretty close.
Okay. Reggie Jackson. Wow. Mr. June, you're calling him? He gave buckets to the Dallas team. That's a good. I hope Coach Bud is watching how you deal with a superstar. When Donovan Mitchell has the ball at midcourt, you send the double team and force it out of his hands. It would have been nice if they tried that with Kevin Durant last night at some point in the fourth quarter
Dumb coaching.
when he was having his legacy game.
Yep.
Oh, Reggie Jackson.
Damn.
They pull within 3, and Reggie Jackson just says, I may not be Kawhi, but I'm that guy. Donovan Mitchell. This is a fun picture. This is bright and wild. And Donovan Mitchell is just, I don't know if he's long for Utah. I know that Dwayne Wade is like part of the organization now, and he's fun and hip and dresses all wild and cool, but like Donovan Mitchell seems to have a big personality, charismatic, good looking dude. Like maybe he belongs in a place like the Lakers, like Los Angeles,
Him and Devin Booker, I can see going to big market teams in the long run. I can see it, especially if we don't get rings.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to look past anything as of right now. Like I know that none of those players are in the cards now, but every once in a while I'll just sort of like think down the road, because the Lakers have had this history. It doesn't matter when, like, go back to Wilt, Kareem, who, like all the way through, and Shaq and Powell and whoever. They trade for Kobe Bryant on draft day. Like they'll find ways to bring talent to Los Angeles. And I hope that never goes away. I hope Jeannie carries that torch proudly and strongly for as long as she can. There are Clipper fans getting fist bumps from Jazz fans. Like that's how nice they are in Utah right now. They're like, yeah, okay, all right, good for you. Here come the Donovan Mitchell posts. Ugh. Oh, kick rocks, Downey Jr. I did have a post planned tomorrow for Donovan Mitchell. It's not going up after this game. It's not going up after this. Just missed a 3. Got an 8-point game with 4 to play. This would be, I mean, Bogdanovich started this game so hot. He's been non-existent since about 6:25 to play in the second quarter. Absolutely disappeared. Donovan Mitchell for 3. Reggie Jackson is like, where's the foul? And that might be the first superstar call that Donovan Mitchell has received in this game. Because that looked kind of like a push. But this late in the game, Paul George fumbling the ball and just remembered, it's playoff P time, baby. It's playoff. Whoop! Turnover. No, he gets the ball to Terance Mann off the side iron. My phone is going to blow up from my cousin Drew, who's a Clippers fan, season ticket holder, if the Clippers win this game. It is
I've never met a Clipper fan in my life. Well, I met a few. I just don't know any personally.
Royce O'Neal stuffs Paul George. Wait, that's a foul? We got to see this. We might need to review this one. Okay, that's a lot of hand. I'm good with that. No, Daniel. So he works for the team like when the season's like running. So he's one of the guys that like he sells the lottery tickets and hands out the jerseys. Like he's like part of the hype squad. But then he also has 4 season tickets, so he goes to half the games and works the other ones. He loves the Clippers. Like he's just all about them. And he got his son all decked out in Clippers stuff. And I'm always like, here, play with this Lakers ball. Like, know what it's like to be a winner, son. Like, here you go. Like, I'm a good uncle. I try and take him away from the dark side, but just it pisses him off. I made him say I was babysitting him one day and I had him say Lakers, and then I recorded it and sent it to him. It's fun. It's fun to troll your family members like that. All right. 3 minutes. Here we go. Donovan Mitchell. Great move. Kick to the corner. Bogdanovich finding the stroke. Down 4 with 3 minutes to play, and Utah is absolutely going wild. Clippers fans have become out. Wait, Clippers fans be coming out of nowhere. Like, who is this guy? Terance, this is it. This is the defensive player of the year getting flushed on by a backup. He's getting flushed on by Kawhi Leonard's backup in the biggest game of the season. So when I tell people I have an issue with Rudy Gobert and his defensive prowess, I don't want to hear that this is the moment. Everybody's like, oh, remember he won game 1 with a block on Marcus Morris? Okay. Oh, 3-point play. All right, I was a little off. I said he was going for 30 plus, but he just had his Sports Center highlight. You flush on the big Frenchman, 3-time defensive player of the year. Bogdanovich, it's a foul on the floor on Paul George. I can see some young kids that are like this. Like they just sort of go whatever way the wind's blowing. This kid looks like Vanilla Ice's of child support. It's like this whole outfit came from like the Aaron Carter catalog. Justin Bieber just vomited all over. $23 points in the first half for Bogdanovich. 5 points in the first quarter. 5 points since. Free throw, down 6, 2:27. Come on, Jazz. You got to play defense. You got to get a steal. Yep. Oh. Punched away. They get the rebound. That was a scary moment. Wide open 3 for Batum, who's been deadly. Donovan Mitchell on the drive, and he finishes, and he's limping back to the huddle. He can, but move over, Lakers fans. It's Clippers fans who now have a shot at a championship. Oh, my goodness. Daniel, I dared my good friend running the background for me here, Joe, to find some positive Clipper memes, and it took him 2 hours, but he finally found some.
A Clippers championship will be cute next to our 16.
It's one of those things that when it does happen, it'll feel like it'll be another 30. It's like when Toronto won a championship. It just feels like one of those things that rarely ever will ever happen.
Or when the Angels win the World Series.
Yes, exactly. Second-rate teams in first-rate cities. And at least the Anaheim Angels of, Orange County or whatever they call themselves, at least they're like out of the distance a little bit. They just use the name for marketing.
Mm-hmm. Clippers.
Los Angeles
Down
Clippers. Down 4. Got to have a stop. 2 minutes to go. Paul George actually on the last couple of plays made nice passes to open guys. We had the Terance Mann flush, and then we had the missed Batum. But he's made the right plays. But I think we're gonna get a Paul George jumper here, a Paul George fadeaway, because oh my goodness. What the fuck? I thought we were gonna get like a big old like clank from him not being aggressive. Like the final 2 minutes, he'd stop being aggressive and avoid the free throw line. And instead, Royce O'Neal just hangs his hand over him to give him an and one. Lead back up to 7 with 2 minutes. Come on, Donovan.
That's big at this point.
And he hits nothing in return. This isn't good. This is not looking pretty for the Utah Jazz. Clipper fans, it's your night. It's time to celebrate. I can't believe this is going to be the outcome. Like tomorrow, the conversation will be which team choked harder. The Sixers with a 20-point lead at home, or the Jazz at home against the Clippers without Kawhi. And Paul George went for 35, and he's cooking everybody. Fadeaway 3. Got to get the rebound. 1:10 left. Get the best shot you can get. Oh, Royce O'Neal keeps it alive. Rudy Gobert. Oh, they're calling a foul on Royce O'Neal. Why don't we just look and see if it's a flagrant? Somebody bumped into him pretty hard. Why don't we take 5 minutes and go over to the replay hood and see? You're right. Batum, that was aggressive. What are you doing going after a rebound like that during the playoffs? How dare you? Flagrant foul. I didn't see the last meme, Joe. I'm sure it was funny. I'm sorry. I got really into the game.
Keep calm. Clippers run LA.
Oh, my goodness. You really did. Like, you must have gone to, like, the LA Clippers social media hub for all these positive Clipper memes, because I've never seen one posted by anybody I know. Mike Conley, you're going to need to rehab and get back out there. He's going to need to be there for Game 6 in LA. I don't care if Kawhi's there or not. Because Donovan Mitchell is gimpy.
If the Clippers make it out this series, I honestly don't know who's coming out the West anymore. I don't know who's going to make it out the West.
To me, it depends on how how serious the knee injury is. If they come back and say, oh, we x-rayed and there's actually some damage to the ACL. Oh, we got a shot clock violation. Got to play perfect basketball from here on out. 2 threes. 2 threes will win this game. I can't even do the math right. 2. 1, 2. Boom, boom, boom. So the first one, Bogdanovich. Then they get a stop. A steal. Second one, Donovan Mitchell. Crushing it. Let's get a timeout. Yep. Commercial time. All sports talk tomorrow. When are you guys doing your next pod?
We did ours today. We're releasing our next one tomorrow at noon.
Okay. Shooting Bricks Podcast. Check them out. iTunes, Spotify, all those places, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. Check us out.
And I'm sure you guys will be heaping some praise on KD for that performance last night.
Oh, absolutely. We're just KD's a Hall of Famer. He's one of the best offensive talents to come out the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah, blah 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 blah. Katie. No, I get it, and I agree with you. I'm interested to see if that is sustainable, how long it's sustainable for him to do that, because I don't think he can play 48 minutes a night and be doing that. But what he did last night was really a treat for me and one of the best performances I've ever seen. It was fantastic. It was really great. But right
Brooklyn,
now,
Brooklyn,
go ahead.
Brooklyn closes out the series tomorrow night. James Harden only scored 5 last night, but he was coming off an injury. That's not going to happen tomorrow night. Brooklyn wins on the road. They're going in the Eastern Conference Finals. Brooklyn is 6.
I like your conviction. I'm gonna respectfully disagree. We're gonna get a game 7. Big Chris Middleton game. 35 tomorrow night. All right, we got a 5-point game with 33 seconds. Paul George just made a nice play, knocking the ball away from Donovan Mitchell. Stephen A. Smith be like, "What? You picked against Kevin Durant." Oh, Royce O'Neal rims in and out. Terance Mann with the rebound. Oh, that's a heartbreaker. In the corner, May have stepped out of bounds. Oh, that was down. That was down. I don't know. Terance Mann at the line. Biggest free throws of his life right here. No pressure, young Terance. No pressure. What do you know about pressure? Oh, rims out the first one. I would really love this. Like, for me, the only way I could simulate something like this, because I could never play in an NBA game, was like, what's that game where it's like you can shoot like 5 free throws or whatever, and each free throw you make is $1 million, but each one you miss is like a year in prison. Have you ever heard of that game before?
Absolutely not, man. That just sounds very foreign.
Oh, Donovan Mitchell, that was the game right there. They needed that 3 to go down. Paul George gets the rebound, gets the foul. He's going to the line. 6-point lead. This game is all but over. And it's one of those would you rather type games. It's kind of crazy. Like if somebody said, we'll give you 5 free throw shots, and for each one you make, you get $1 million. For each one you miss, you serve a year in prison or whatever. That would be super intense. Oh, Paul George. Celebrating, hitting free throws to ice this game. Congratulations, Clippers. I'm not going to lie. I didn't think you guys had a chance tonight. I had this game at 111-98. I thought the scoring would be down. I thought the Utah Jazz would be just playing like they were on fire, like they wanted to win a championship, and they were the best team all year. And then, sure enough, that's not how they played at all. And it's now an 8-point lead with 20 seconds to play, and this game is everything but over. And Paul George is just getting hugs.
Congrats to Skip Bayless. Jazz just choked hard last night.
Oh,
they just choked hard.
Skip, yeah, I've been kind of off Skip Bayless for a little bit here. He said something again today. I checked in real quick, and he said something today that kind of pissed me off, where he was like challenging Kawhi Leonard, like whether his toughness. It's like, oh, if this were LeBron, he would be playing this game, and it's like, it's an ACL. Like you think that Kawhi Leonard is load managing in a playoff game? Like it just sounds so stupid when he says stuff out loud. I'm always like, do you hear yourself talking?
He gets paid to say those stuff, man. That's his job.
Yeah, but it just makes me just change the channel to where I'm just like, I can't believe I stayed here for a second so that you would say that Kawhi Leonard isn't playing because he's afraid of, like, because this knee injury is something he could play with.
Ridiculous.
Like, it doesn't make any, like, of course, if he could play, he would play. It's a playoff game. Like I've never seen Kawhi Leonard load manage during a playoff game. He load managed Bogdanovich too little, too late. Oh my goodness. Flojo, what's going on, brother? Appreciate you stopping by. You came in just in time for a little Skip Bayless flexing. As you can see, he threw away all of his Clippers stuff, as he's prone to do. He just stomps over to the garbage can and does his little, social media stuff, throws his jerseys away, his Zeke jerseys when he gets mad, Clippers jerseys. But tomorrow he'll be pounding the desk. Bah! Dude is in good shape for being like 70 years old. Like, yeah.
That's actually true. I've actually went to Fox Studios when I was back in college, and he's quite big. He walked past us once. Kind of nerve-wracking.
Oh, not much, Flojo. I'm a little nervous, actually. I'm in a fantasy league with Flojo, and I have the second pick, and I'm afraid I'm going to mess it up. Fantasy football. I don't want to talk about fantasy football. We'll have plenty of time. We'll get on a live and talk about fantasy football. I want to finish this because all the Skip Baylesses, all the people like the Nick Wrights, like the Stephen A. Smiths of the world, these people who attack Paul George, they got to say nice stuff about him at least for a day tomorrow. Like at least one day, because I didn't hear one person say that the Clippers had a chance, and it was because they didn't think Paul George could come through like this. Even I'm kind of interested to see what the guys at the TNT desk have to say after this game, because they should be heaping some praise on him too. And that's the other thing. You gotta call fouls, ref. If you don't want flagrant situations, don't let him get in there before somebody puts a hand on a neck and you have to go over and check for a flagrant foul. But they better be saying nice things because Paul George has earned it. Even if it only lasts for 24 hours, Daniel. It has to happen for 24 hours.
He'll get his praise tomorrow. It's just he'll get his cycle. He'll get his 24-hour media cycle and be right back to normal. I still have the Jazz winning this in 7. I think people are gonna need to step up. I think Donovan Mitchell is gonna rise to the challenge.
I hope so. I really do. I like I said, I had a post planned for tomorrow that Donovan Mitchell was a snub for all NBA team, but I don't want to be putting that out after what we saw tonight. Like, granted, I think this was kind of a gutty performance in some ways. If you want to go that way, he looked pretty hobbled. He looked like he couldn't attack the basket the way that we're used to seeing. So there was a bit of a limitation in that aspect. But also, like, where's Jordan Clarkson been in the second half? Like, I don't remember seeing him on the floor. I don't remember seeing him, like, have anything going on here. That's right. Flojo referencing DJ Khaled. Another one. Jazz, they're not the best music. Right here. This game is going to look very bad from a highlight standpoint of all the errant threes. And this is what happens when you live by the three. At some point, they stop falling, and you need to have guys that can go inside and can score consistently. And you still have to attack the basket, and they're just not attacking the basket. Unless you're going to make like 25 threes. Then it's a different story. Oh, it's going to go off of Bogdanovich's foot. This is all for naught anyways. It doesn't even really matter at this point. These are all just sort of like the betting lines. Yeah, that's off Bogdanovich's foot. You're right there. It went off a man's chest for a second and then comes down, hits Bogdanovich's foot, which that guy was super hot. Snake Sports Talk Show. No Kawhi, and the Clippers are winning. I know. Snake Sports. The Snake Sports Talk Show. My brother, I'm sorry I took it off. How is this possible? What are your thoughts on the, like, are you somebody that on Snake Sports Talk, did you predict this? Because I certainly did not. I did not think that they had a chance whatsoever. We got another person coming in here. Roy Clippers, congrats for winning Game 5. I agree. Congrats. Like, I just didn't. I did not think this was possible. I thought that we were going to see a very different, hungry Jazz team, and even in the first quarter when they were up, the Clippers just kept fighting and closed, and it was like a 1-point lead. They put up 37, but they gave up 36. PG pouring out a little bit for his homie Kawhi Leonard tonight. Pour out. Wow. This really is something. Everybody giving it up. We didn't see any Boogie Cousins out here tonight. Terance Mann filled in nicely for Kawhi. I wouldn't say it was a special performance like the one that I predicted on our YouTube and TikTok pages. But this just goes to show you that a 38-year-old man probably shouldn't be making TikTok videos anyways. Like, who are we kidding? I probably shouldn't be on TikTok. That's the problem. Not that I'm making predictions. It's the fact that I even open up the app and try to use something that's strictly meant for young people. All right, we're gonna get a game. We got a bunch of good Game 6s coming up. Like starting tomorrow night, and then by Friday we're getting a double header of a lot of eliminations to be happening in the next 48 hours potentially. Because you're projecting that the Nets close out the series.
They're gonna win the whole thing. This is just the beginning. They're gonna win the whole thing. Brooklyn's gonna win the whole thing.
I hope you are wrong with every fiber in my being. I hope you're wrong. All right, we got a long comment here. This is gonna take me. The Snake Sports. I'm a terrible reader. Welcome to the program. I seriously did not predict that whatsoever once Kawhi went down because PG usually disappears, and outside of Beverly, who the hell can really guard up? That's crazy. And now I'm curious of Game 6 now. I'm curious about Game 6 now, too, because I want to know how healthy Donovan Mitchell's going to be. And you're right. Like, I think that I was a little concerned about how the Clippers defense was going to be, but you let him off the hook when you're just jacking up crazy threes. Joe, yes, this is the most blasphemous whatever that Paul George could be like, you up, bro? I don't know if you had a chance to see it, but I just went nuts. $37 points, 16 rebounds, 5 assists. I mean, he's no Kevin Durant, but this is pretty impressive. Wow. 37 and 16. First player with 35, 15, and 5 in Clippers history, maybe? I don't know. I forget. I didn't get to see everything. I don't know what that emoji is. 3 boxes. Quit it, please. I like that. I like that pun right there. Snake Talk Sports. I'm gonna go follow you after this. Subscribe. Check it out. See what Snake Sports Talk Show is all about. Paul George still has it. Good to see. Mike, you were in here talking smack about PG, and now you're all like, "Oh, he's a nice guy." This is the guy trying to take over your city, let alone your team, and all you can say is, "He seems like a nice guy." That's a Tommy Boy quote for younger people who haven't seen the movie. Mike, another movie for you to go watch. Tommy Boy. Watch it. It's good. It's hilarious. All right, Daniel, let's get some parting thoughts in here. Prediction on all of the Game 6s over the next 2 days. And you have already stated the Nets-Bucks series is over.
It's over. It's over. Milwaukee had their chance. The injuries were falling on Brooklyn's lap. It was their opportunity to take full, complete control of the series last night. They screwed it up. Now the ball is now back in Brooklyn's court. With James Harden getting back into form, KD, James Harden, it's a lethal combination. Milwaukee can't shoot the ball. It's over. Brooklyn's going to the Eastern Conference Finals. This is the beginning of the end of the season. They're going to win the championship. Banner number 1 for Brooklyn.
All right. Well, there it is. I disagree. I'm going to take the Bucks in that one, and we're going to get a Game 7, and I can't wait to do a live stream of that. Let's move on to Friday night games. You have the early game. You have Sixers Hawks in Atlanta, 3-2. Who do you got in that game?
3-2 Atlanta. It all depends on the health of Joel Embiid. I'm still going to lean towards the Sixers. I just think the ATL, these guys are just young and raw. I think Trae Young's a future top 3-point guard in the league, but they're just too inexperienced at this point. I like Philadelphia's players better at this moment. Philly's going to force a Game 7. Philly's going to win the series.
Okay. All right. I agree with you on this one, too. I think they force a Game 7. I will get to who I think will win that in a Game 7. And sorry, I just blanked on the last game, but it will be this one. It'll be Clippers Jazz Friday night, Game 6 in Los Angeles. We don't know whether or not Kawhi Leonard is going to be available for that game, but let's just say right now he's not, because obviously if it's an ACL, it could be the rest of the season. Clippers Jazz Game 6, no Kawhi. Who do you got in that game?
The Jazz feeling pretty humiliated by this loss. They come back and retaliate. Donovan Mitchell learns his lesson from the last game. He's gonna have a better night, maybe even a career night. Jazz force Game 7. They go back home to one of the louder arenas in the NBA, and they win the series.
Yep, I agree. I believe that they're going to get it done in Game 6, and one of the big reasons is I'm hoping they're going to get like 18 to 20 minutes, quality minutes out of Mike Conley. If they can get that from him and Joe Ingles can really come in off the bench and provide that punch, it'll be good. Clippers have a better chance to win the championship than the Lakers. This is what we get. This is my nightmare. Ben Simmons is killing the franchise. He can't, won't, and will not shoot. Disappointment. I agree. I agree there, Snake, because if you're going to pay somebody that much money, he cannot be a liability at the end of quarters, at the foul line, or whatever. I don't care. It's my same problem with Rudy Gobert. You can't pay guys that are one-way players max money. It will handicap your team, especially if that one way is defense, because we're playing in an offensive league. This isn't a couple decades ago where guys could be a little bit more physical and impose their will defensively and really make an impact on that end. So you can't have a max player making $200 million and then all of a sudden they're a handicap in an offensive league where teams are routinely putting up a ton of points and shooting crazy three-pointers. So I'm going to agree with you there. If choking was a sport, this NBA team might finally be able to win a title. Daniel, buzz in and answer this.
I'm guessing they're referring to the Clippers.
Yes. Who is the Los Angeles Clippers is the correct answer. This is Jeopardy. Okay. All right. I'm good. We got plugs in for you, right? Shooting Bricks Podcast. Check them out. Instagram, Twitter. Really fun. Love to debate. All opinionated. I got to get the rest of the guys on here sometime, but I appreciate you for being the first one to finally come and join me in some sports talk over here. I've invited you guys all so many times, and you guys just keep dodging me. Everybody's like, Tucker? No, we're not talking to that guy. He's a loser. Hurt my feelings, gentlemen. I'm just kidding. Yeah. I always send you guys stuff like at the very last minute. And I'm like, hey, what are you guys doing in 10 minutes? You don't have lives, right? Want to join me and talk some sports? I kind of do a jerky thing. So
you're a great guy, Tony. It's just you know what? It was just a quiet listener, and I pretty much had nothing to do. I was just watching ball. You know what? Fuck it. Let's go. Let's hop on.
Yes, I appreciate you. Thank you for doing that. I'm going to play this music and get on out of here. My screen is freezing. It did this to me the last episode too. What is going on when it just peters out? Joe, I might need your help playing some.